and there's intimacy on the radio, and there's naturalness on the radio that can never be replicated on TV. The marvelous resurgence of radio as a political force in this country.
News-related radio programming is evolving.
There's a huge hole in our dialogue that can be filled by the synthesis of traditional radio and the freedom that comes from a live podcast. You're about to experience Cowboy State Politics live. Here we go. Good morning, my friends, and welcome to another outstanding installment from very high above all the perfidious and vapid forms of Wyoming mainstream media. This is Cowboy State Politics. I, of course, am your illustrious host, David Iverson, firmly ensconced behind the silver Cowboy State Politics microphone and broadcasting to you from the base of the Bighorns at the Cowboy State Politics Studio in Sheridan, Wyoming. Good morning, my friends, and welcome to the program. Happy Thursday. What is it, Ken? 13 days before the primary election, something like that?
Too many.
Too many? Ready for this thing to be over?
Absolutely.
So am I. I say we just hold the vote today and get her done with. Of course, if I held the vote, things would turn out entirely differently. It'd be good for us, though.
Excuse me. Ooh. Do you have special voting machines? Do you have access?
No, I do everything on paper ballots. I only need one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't need a tabulation machine.
And it's yeah.
All right, anyway.
Almost said something get me in trouble.
Good morning, my friends, and welcome to the program. Thank you for watching. On today's show, quite a bit of national news. I mean, we've got the Fauci vote that just happened a little bit ago. It's a little bit different. So normally, if the Senate holds a witness in contempt, first it goes through a committee, and then it goes through the whole Senate. This one's a little bit different. So Rand Paul's committee, the motion was to hold him in contempt and bypass a vote in the whole Senate, which it's really strange. And I would think that you would want the whole Senate to go along with it, but the reason why he's not, and I don't necessarily agree with this, I'm just reporting the news, is that it would most definitely face a filibuster on the Senate floor, and it would go nowhere. Now, let's remember past prosecutions of people who were held in contempt of Congress. There's Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon spent several months in prison for refusing to testify in front of Congress. And let's see here. There was a couple more. There was, what was his name? Roger. I just forgot his name. Anyway, one of them, he refused to testify. And they arrested him, put him in chains in the middle of an airport, and he went to jail too. Now Fauci is in front of a Senate committee, and he tried to use the Fifth Amendment to not say anything about things for which he had been pardoned. And that is the crux of holding him in contempt. You see, your Fifth Amendment right only applies to you incriminating yourself. Right? If whatever it is that you're going to say will put you in legal jeopardy, you have a constitutional right to keep your mouth shut. But that doesn't apply when you are in no jeopardy. That is, when, like Fauci, you've been pardoned, right? For all federal crimes dating back to 2014, Fauci cannot be prosecuted federally. And so if you watched any of the questioning of Anthony Fauci, Rand Paul was very careful to keep all of his questions within the realm of 2014 to 2026, and all of it was kept, on things that he had already been pardoned for, meaning that there was no constitutional right for Fauci to plead the Fifth. And so that happened this morning. The vote went through. There was, in a lot of these, you expect the Democrats to hold up the hearing for an entire day. They really didn't. I think there was 2 motions to table it, and then that was it, and then straight to a vote. So maybe the Democrats realized the futility of resisting. Resistance is futile.
Brings up an honest question in my
Yes.
mind, though, because your Miranda rights apply to states as well. If I get
Yes.
if I get arrested here and they Mirandize me, I would think that if you tried to press the case in the Fauci thing, that he could point to states and say, I still face a threat.
Right.
Because individual states could bring.
But the questioning itself related to federal crimes.
Yes.
And so, I mean, maybe you could make an argument to say if I answered this question, it would implicate me in state crimes. Maybe I
think that's the direction I'm going. And if you point to, not that I'm trying to defend Fauci, you've got to think about that. And how can you possibly know all 50 different states? Maybe some states have already adopted some of these laws.
Yeah, who knows?
And you'd immediately put yourself in jeopardy. So
yeah. Anyway, something to keep your
maybe
eyeballs
not
peeled.
Quite as cowardly as Aaron Rodgers would say.
Yeah, that was a great. You know what? We should probably play. You still got that video? You deleted it?
Yes, I did.
Oh, you are. Well, fortunately, I have it.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's your video. You should be all happy about it. But yeah, anyway, we played yesterday on the program. Aaron Rodgers, of course, he was a big opponent of Anthony Fauci. He has been for years. He was doing an interview on CNN, and here's how the thing went down.
Of coming into your last season, like that's a real thing. It feels like, because is everything better? Is everything funner? Is everything more awesome? Like, how do you kind of view this year versus maybe the years
he's
past?
a sports.
I'm going to plead the fifth.
Okay. Okay.
Like
Gotta love that guy.
Like that absolute coward, Tony Fauci. Absolute coward.
Yeah.
Hey, it's back,
Are
baby.
you kidding me?
Yeah. 111
You
times.
got a pardon and you're in front and you pleaded over 100 times
Yeah.
at the White House. What are you scared of, Tony?
Yeah.
I thought you were the science.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought you were I am science, and you get up there and you can't answer a question.
Yeah.
What are we doing? And how much time did the network spend to that? How much time did they spend on my responses every week, on my vaccination
Okay,
status,
all right.
on Taylor and Travis's
All right. That's enough of that. Funny stuff, though. I mean, and I am continually amazed at how often all of us are proven right about, COVID and Biden and the auto pen and Kamala
I'm
Harris.
used to being right.
Well, you're a legend in your own mind,
Yeah.
Pendergraft.
Well, I tell people I can afford to be narrow-minded. I'm right.
Yes, but you don't have the record to prove it like I do. Anyway, to the cow pie. The the Political Action Committee, formerly known as the Cowboy State Daily. Now, just a little bit ago, they were absolutely defending Eric Barlow. That was yesterday. Now they've switched into defending Americans for Prosperity. Now, of course, they can't address any of the arguments made by the Open Range Record, nor would they. They kind of ignore everything I do, and then they'll write an article that is absolutely directed at whatever I said or whatever I wrote, but they have to take it another direction. And, never where credit is where credit is due. Hey, you know what? Before I go here, we've got a soundbite from a congressional candidate. And at the Wyoming PBS debate, which we're going to get to the debate a little bit later, but this is Kevin Christensen. And now remember, I told you yesterday that the guy really is a big giant redcoat. Here's evidence of it. Listen.
We need more insurance providers. We only have 2 major private insurance providers. We need to have more affordable options in Wyoming. We also need to expand Medicaid in Wyoming.
Did you hear that one? I actually can play it again.
We need more insurance providers. We only have 2 major private insurance providers. We need to have more affordable options in Wyoming. We also need to expand Medicaid in Wyoming.
There you go. We need to expand Medicaid, is what he says.
Government needs to take over health care.
That is the... And you
really
know
what
what?
he's saying.
So, in a little bit of history lesson for you, do you know who actually came up with the phrase "the New Deal"?
No. probably wasn't John Adams, but someone in his day.
No, it wasn't. And it wasn't FDR either. It was coined by this guy named Stuart Chase. Stuart Chase wrote a book called The Road We Are Traveling, and it listed out the 10 things that needed to happen to create, and he didn't know what to call it. So in the book, he calls it System X, but really what it is socialism, communism, corporate communism, whatever you want to call it. But he called it System X. And the number one thing listed in that book, and the number one goal of FDR and the New Deal, of course, he never got that far, was to have government-run healthcare and government-run education. And I mean, there was, like I say, there was 10 things listed in there. I should see if I could find a copy of that book. It's pretty rare. But government-run healthcare, it's always been on the wish list for Democrats. And why is that? Well, it's the most personal thing to you. If you're not healthy, well, you're not going to be alive for very long. And so if politicians are in control of that, they are in absolute control of pretty much anything. The only other thing they would need is control of food, right?
Which they pretty much do.
Which they're pretty close, right? You got the top 5 meat processors. There's Mom Donnie in New York. I've got a piece in the stack of stuff about his government-run grocery stores. But if you're the person that is advocating for Medicaid expansion, you are, by definition, not a conservative. Years ago, Ken and I gave a presentation to the Wyoming GOP. I think was that in Douglas, Ken?
I think it was.
Anyway, yeah, it was.
We had the cardboard Liz Cheney.
We did. That's right. But what we did in the presentation is that we went through the planks of the Republican Party platform and showed the crowd how Medicaid expansion pretty much violates all of them. And one of the big reasons is the platform is built on, like each plank relates to the other one. I mean, it's really a solid set of principles. And, if you pick, for example, the first one, okay, life. Well, that applies to pretty much all the rest of them, too. Guns, certainly, your freedom of health care, all of those things. So if you're the guy that's advocating for Medicaid expansion, you're not a conservative, and more than likely, you're not really a Republican either.
Don't call me on this because I don't have my notes in front of me. But, I did the same thing with the Wyoming Business Council, and the Energy Dominance Fund violates at least 7 planks.
At least.
Of the GOP.
Well, and all of it revolves around government control. That if you can control the economy, or if you can control a sector of the economy, energy, for example, or if you can control business, i.e. the Wyoming Business Council, or if you can control healthcare. All of this, like COVID was a really good example of what happens when the government is in control of your health. And, they can take away any amount of your freedom. And think about it. You had governors across the country saying you got to jab a piece of metal into your arm. Show your papers, please. Show your vaccination records. With Tyler Lindholm saying that we have to start shaming these sons of guns, people that resist all of our COVID stuff. Let me go ahead and play that one for you again. Here you go. Check this out.
So we got to flatten this curve, right? And the government, that's all they're saying. And I don't think it's wrong. I mean, nobody wants this damn thing. We do need to flatten the curve. We can do so voluntarily. And our governor has been fantastic about that. Personal choice is not working in certain places. You're right, Dana. And that's the message that I wanted to spread, right? I think we got to start calling people out.
Yeah.
I know that sounds horrible, but I don't want to lose any more of my liberty because somebody feels like it's maybe there's a conspiracy theory.
Shut up and stick your arm with
Is it possible to
this
find
shot.
a middle ground on this too? Mandate shelter in place for those over 65, 70 years old. The most vulnerable members of our society. That's like a famous line from legislative session. We're always calling. That's kind of the ideology that I'm hoping will catch on is. Let's just start shaming these sons of guns. Just like,
if
why you've been
not?
tested and you've been tested negative, say, listen, I've been tested negative. You've been tested negative.
Yeah. So anyway, that's Tyler Lindholm. He's the head guy at Americans for Prosperity. I mean,
You got any other bright sayings, baby face?
but so Tyler Lindholm, I mean, he's the guy that's funding a lot. I mean, not directly, but he's the guy that's got people going door to door and a lot of campaigns. And actually, this article I've got, like, we're going to get to it directly. But it's government control, baby.
I got a couple more quick ones.
Yeah, let's hear them.
Senator French, that's currently the law now. In order to attend public school, you must be immunized. But your children don't have to attend public school. It's all a choice.
Yeah.
That is the most perfect soundbite for describing that woman.
Oh, man.
If she is indeed a woman and not an android.
Well, that's why I call her Slithers.
Yeah, she's
she's
so condescending, the smartest person in the room.
There is no doubt, I mean, from all the medical information out there, that we are in a pandemic of the unvaccinated. If everyone was vaccinated, this pandemic would be gone.
Yeah, that's Bob Nicholas. Bob has been in the House of Representatives down in Cheyenne for, God, I don't know how long.
He's been there longer than the paintings.
Yeah, many of them, actually. But you see, when government gets their hands on healthcare or private business or energy or any of those things, I mean, it really strips most of your liberty away. Because the government is acting in, not in your best interest, in their best interest. And it's not the government in total, it's the people running it. It's the elected officials, Senator Slithers, Bob Nicholas. Of course, Tyler Lindholm isn't elected anymore, but or Kevin Christensen.
Lloyd Larson.
Lloyd Larson, another good one. And again, if you want to go see exactly who all of these people are, go watch the YouTube videos from the COVID special session in, I think that was 2022. And you can really pick pretty much any one of them that you want. And it's, I mean, you're going to hear some really, really horrible stuff, what these people actually believe. So, Medicaid expansion, big, huge, giant red flag. Fortunately, Kevin Christensen is not going to win, so we don't really have to worry about it. But he will probably show up later in Wyoming politics, so don't lose that soundbite.
Yeah, I will just mention that next week I'm going to be down in Cheyenne on a committee.
Sorry.
Yeah, a committee chaired by Lloyd Larson and Senator Nethercott. And their goal, I'm convinced, is to expand Medicaid.
Absolutely it is.
We've got a problem where people can't afford insurance. They can't afford insurance because Obamacare has done exactly what it was supposed to do, fail. And so their answer then is, let's throw all the beans into that pot.
Yeah. Well, go ahead and play that Kevin Christensen soundbite one more time, if you got it handy.
We need more insurance providers. We only have 2 major private insurance providers. We need to have more affordable options in Wyoming. We also need to expand Medicaid in Wyoming.
Okay, so he says we need to have more options in Wyoming. Why doesn't Wyoming have more medical providers? Because it's a really small state. That's why. And because we've created a situation where that one company, and it's Blue Cross and Blue Shield, and I'm not saying anything negative about them. I'm saying that we've allowed a government, or not a government, but we've allowed a monopoly to exist with that one company. And it's partially market driven, but it's also driven by government intervention in the healthcare market with paying for Medicare and Medicaid, driving up those costs. And if you're a single payer in a state, which Blue Cross and Blue Shield is, they can pretty much charge whatever they want because there's no competition. And so with Kevin Christensen saying, well, the government needs to get involved and bring more people. Well, what do you think is going to happen to the price of healthcare?
When you guarantee that no matter what you charge, it's going to be paid.
Yes.
Yeah, it's only going to go one way. I think there are a couple of things we can do. I think that if we look at some tort reform,
sure,
we can't do a lot because we're only 580,000 people, and that's like a small community nationwide, a small town.
But you could definitely do some stuff around malpractice.
Yeah, it would help.
If you, I don't even know what you would do, Ken, but if, let's just say in general, you were able to reform malpractice law, right? Make it I don't want to make it harder for you to hold doctors accountable, but make it more specific, right? You can't just sue because you left the doctor's office and you have a headache.
We have to look at that. You also have to look at being able to buy health insurance across state lines. That's really the only answer that
I think
see
that would be a giant thing.
Those answers are rooted in freedom, not having more government control, which is what's caused the problem.
See, and I've never quite understood that. And maybe, I don't know, maybe you've got an answer to why the law is written this way. But I can call a car insurance company in Florida and get car insurance. I can call a car insurance company in California and get car insurance, and it's no problem here. Why can't I call a health insurance company in Texas and have them insure me when I live in Wyoming? That doesn't make any sense. I mean, there seems to be no reason behind it except that it artificially drives up the cost of healthcare. So plug something.
Bumped it and it restarted.
Okay, hopefully. What's going on here? All right, hold on. If you're still with us, we got a little video glitch. So we'll fix that and we'll be right back. The following
and supporting strong schools, agriculture, and energy production. But state government keeps growing while priorities fight for resources. That has to change. We don't have a revenue problem. We have a spending and priority problem. Vote for me on August 18th, and I'll put Wyoming priorities first. I'll return taxes to you, the taxpayer, and make Wyoming number one. Paid for by Brent Bien for governor.
Today's program is also brought to you by Morton Buildings. If you're in the market for Morton Buildings, their phone number is 07-674-2532. They're the best in metal building construction, and they've been doing it longer than anybody else around. So it doesn't matter if it's a garage or a barn or maybe something bigger, like a roping arena or maybe a giant warehouse for your business. The two guys you need to call first are Marcos and Jesse. Again, their phone number is 307-674-2532 or